So if you figure 6,000 this year, it might be 2 years before you gotta run it again.
I'm
But the
just
little
thinking-
tractors,
Sure.
they get used every year.
Yeah, but you're only using them, what, 12, 14 weeks a year?
I,
If that.
How many hours on them?
3,500 or something like that.
Yeah, but they're what, 20 years old, 19 years old? No, they're Ford 3000s, dude. I'm just saying it would be at least 120,000 to buy 2 new machines.
I don't know. You can guess all you want. I
Well,
don't know
we'll
what-
find out soon, but I'm, that's a lot of leasing or rental money for just that little time. I understand the grade all because you're gonna need it in the wintertime if something's clogged up, if you need it in the summertime.
But if you want to use your $120,000 number, I would rather see 2 small tractors with new mowers than one A-arm one tractor with
Well,
an A-arm.
I agree, we should rent or lease the A-arm. That makes total sense for 6 or 7 grand. That's like a no-brainer because that's.
Well, let's see what the tractors cost. You know, with the way municipality can buy, it's not like you walking down the John Deere dealership or Case International or Ford New Holland and buying one.
I get you. Sure.
The municipality can buy so cheap compared to everybody else, it makes me sick at times.
Well, I guess it's good that we can we can put some of the pieces together. I get you. So, okay.
It needs more discussion with real numbers and.
Yeah, and that's
more
what, I wish I had
discussion.
numbers for you, but I don't. I've contacted 2 dealers and neither one has gotten back to me yet on numbers, so.
And every time I talk to you, or talk to those men up there, there are a little bit different scenarios of what is the best way to move forward. And I'd like to flush them all out, get it well talked out.
Well, that's what I've talked to the guys that actually do the mowing and say,
Well-
which mowers you think would be the best. I know I've mowed alongside the road lots of times. I know what I think would be best, but what do you guys think is best? Because they're the ones doing it more than I am. And it's awful hard to beat those 2 little tractors we got. They're low and wide and they'll go just about any place. But you start getting a bigger tractor that's high and top
Narrow
heavy.
wheels.
You see the state going up through with their Ford tractor, and it's a lot higher than ours. They can't get down in the ditch because they'll roll over. Where our little tractor's right down in the ditch and up the backside. It's just the way it is. And I wouldn't want to see a tractor with front tires on it this tall that when you foam fill them so you don't have flats, they weigh 1,000 pounds, 1,500 pounds a piece extra.
I get you.
So you want little small tires that are wide that you can foam fill and not worry about flats.
So, Artie, are you going to bring us also something next month on the skid steer since you're?
I can if you think I haven't. It's just something that I
Well,
thought of, and
we should at least know if it's in the ballpark of reality. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Because
I
you're
can-
going to want some attachments. You're going
yeah,
to, you know.
I can look into it.
Going to go one step at a time here. We're pretty much agreed, I think, on a grade-off.
We need a grade all.
Yeah. We need to replace the mowing equipment because of the state mandate with the cabs. And our mowing equipment is pretty well fatigued. We scratch those 2 itches and then let's take a look at the rest. And the other thing here, your skid steer idea, I like, but I'd like to see it demonstrated, you know?
Yeah, well, that's
No.
the one dealer was at the shop the other day, and he showed us that road widener, and he said next year that this company's going to buy one of them road wideners and rent it out to guys that have skid steers.
They look pretty universal, all right? I've got 4 of them myself.
I got one.
And to switch jobs isn't always the easiest thing in the world. Transferring weights and the new ones are better. I'm not familiar with a lot of them. I don't update every 2-3 years. But from what I'm seeing, some of the newer ones are a little better. But I would recommend, let's try one out. We can try one of those out.
Oh, I'm sure.
I knew a dealer that put one in the barn in a hurry with 2 or 3 attachments to let you try those jobs out and see if
Oh yeah,
the ideas cook out.
If they at least got any bit of inclination that they might make a sale, they'll let you. Amazing what they'll let you try.
But our priority is the great all and the 2
Tractors,
mowers.
yeah.
And,
Yep, that's what I
there
say.
is money in the budget to get that done.
So my next question is, you can get a hold of Western County? to-
Yeah, I was gonna see if you can have Eric get a hold of the boss down there or whatever. And
I can do that.
see if we can get plans to go down there someday. I'm sure Eric let you run down there during the day and run down and look at it.
See, there
I can ask
could
them.
be $150,000 swing on how we make out buying used equipment and how you come out with the mowing equipment.
Right.
So there's not much point. I gotta keep a steady amount in that capital acquisition account, or the taxes go up and down like a yo-yo. There is no choice there. And I settled in on 300,000 when I saw what we were faced with. And now already rehabbing a truck and looking at used great-alls, you know, I was looking at 4.25. I was a little upset. A budget of between $1 million and $1.2 million, and you got buy piece of equipment for 4.25. And I've calmed down a little, all right? But we gotta get those 3 items, the 2 mowers and the great-all, under our belt before we start planning long-term. In a $25,000 to $50,000 swing on the capital acquisition account is not devastating with the taxes. If we have enough surplus that we can lean on that. So, level taxes. Okay. So next meeting, you fellas have something for us on a great-all?
Yeah, I wanna go with that one he's got next later. He said it's not, what he's selling is like, it's what we're looking for. It's the right size and it's 4-wheel drive, it's what we're used to, and,
Well, I won't see him till Friday, so
well,
I'll give,
Well, I've seen in the past too, that it's important to get past the salesman. Look at the machine.
right.
All right. Anything else for us?
Well, that's all I got, unless you guys got any other questions on anything?
Anybody have any other questions for Artie?
I see you're loading sand, working on the sand pile?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
How's that going? We in good shape? or-
Yeah, it's going all right, just,
Okay.
Well, we can talk a little bit about salt and sand storage. We talked about that the other day again. According to Artie, we could more than likely get a grant to do most of it. Hank, I realized you wanted to get right at it. I understand that, but it sounds like the financing for the town, the amount of money we have to spend, we're better off kind of going slow, and our hand isn't being forced right now, unlike some other municipalities around here that were forced into it. But we gotta proceed with that, because the day will come, we'll get the letter and we'll be forced.
Sean gave me a contact who has additional financial sources that we could perhaps tap for a grant, but I've yet to follow up on those.
Like
a lot of the information I got is we could be paying for at least half of it with the grant money.
Yeah.
I know the one that Florida got was, out of their budget, they had to pay for the engineering design, the designs and, something to do with the architectural, but anyways, it was like something like they had to come up with $50,000, then the rest of it was covered by the grant.
Would be very worthwhile.
Well, yeah, especially if you get a salt shed for $50,000.
Well, sure.
Well, the one that we looked at, that Artie and I looked at more intensively, really was for a lot of other things besides salt sheds. So salt shed was just one of their many categories, and
Right.
it was a more general grant, but I'm sure a specific salt shed grant would be more
All they know is
appropriate.
and I don't know the whole gist of it, but they had to meet certain criterias
Yeah.
to get this grant, and from my understandings, we actually fall into some of them parameters of that grant.
Yeah,
And the engineer would, the thing is, the engineering study and all the stuff we shell out for would actually dictate, they would right size it for our town
Yes.
and do a number of things that maybe we would not have, so it's covers us a lot more in detail. So that would be good.
My whole point in bringing it up is I don't want that just to be slid off to one side. We need
Yeah.
to progress with our planning and pricing.
Is there some deadlines on that?
But the lessons we were looking at, it's July usually is.
yeah, we slipped past the last deadline.
Okay.
We got kind of thrown in it real quick, and there was nothing you wanna jump at in a month's time anyways. You wanna, like Bill said, you wanna work on a little slower and make sure we get every grant dollar we can, because that's gonna make a big
Oh,
difference.
We should keep it on the radar, that's good. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, anything else for our highway superintendent? Entertain a motion to accept his report.
I'll make that motion.
Second?
Okay, we got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay, the justice report. Have we looked over the justice report?
Make a motion, we accept the justice report.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Okay, you'll find this is one area where the judge recommended, and I concurred to give the court clerk more than the 2.5% raise. If you take a look at that justice report, you'll understand why. Where we were seeing 4,000 and 5,000 a month, we're now seeing 9,000 a month. And you look at some of the arrest dates, and you'll find they're back in the early 2000, 2001, 2004. The mess is getting cleaned up. The justice part of this township is operating efficiently. Our judge is one of the most favored judges around here with the police. They call him and he seems to be available, and it works good. The attorneys like him. It's an experienced judge, and now we have a clerk that is doing the job. Okay?
And it gets called out all hours of the night too.
Was this a matter of collections, or, I mean,
Well, you drop the hammer and they haven't got the fine when they're in the court, and oh, you adjourn it, or they're gonna come back, or la-da-da. And our clerk figured it out. Okay. Is there any other comments on our justice clerk? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay, dog control officer. Seen the report? She's another, well, read the report.
Make a motion, we accept the dog control officer's report.
second?
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Okay, I have a little discussion. The dog control officer's job is not easy, and it is difficult to get a good one. We have a good one. I got a request for more than the 2.5% raise there. I had a request and a nasty little note last year. The dog catcher wasn't happy with what she was getting. In going through the budget, you'll note I put in some money there that is above and beyond the 2.5%. If you're giving everybody 2.5%, 2.5% of 40,000 is a lot different than 2.5% of 4,000 or 5,000. So that's the reason behind what has gone on with the budget proposal. Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay, assessor's report. She snuck out on us.
Yeah.
Okay,
Make a motion that we accept the assessor's report as written.
do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a second. Any discussion?
Oh, we have a vacancy now.
Yes, the bar.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's coming to that. We got a motion on the table. I was gonna dispense with the assessor's report. Okay, all those in favor of accepting the assessor's report, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay, we have a resignation from the Board of Assessment Review. The resignation was Brian Chrisman. His current term expired, really, he just does not wish to be reappointed.
Make a motion, we accept his letter of resignation or non-reappointment, would actually be better. Sure.
Okay,
Regrettably.
we have a motion,
I'll second it.
we have a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay, we have a letter here requesting consideration for appointment to the Board of Assessment Review.
Is he here? Is he here?
Yes.
Alan?
No, he's
No?
not.
He's not here?
No, he's not here tonight.
Oh, he isn't here tonight, I thought he not, is it here, the letter?
No. I'm not sure if I know who he is.
Okay. Okay, just in discussion, what would we prefer here? Did you want to see him at a meeting? Do you want to vote on it tonight? We have a letter from Mr. Alan Brust.
I think to be fair, it'd be good to meet him, ask him some questions, or he can ask us questions, or.
I have a question for Margaret. I mean, she's the one that handed us. Margaret, can you give us a little insight on this gentleman?
He's my next door neighbor.
Okay.
His qualifications speak for themselves. There aren't many people that apply to be appointed to a job that they don't want to do. Right? He is an outstanding citizen. He will not miss meetings. He's pretty sharp. It's
Okay.
really sad to lose Brian. I said, Brian, you're gonna be hard to replace. And he was. I don't think they're gonna be knocking at the door to work for the town of Palatine. You can read his reason for wanting to be appointed.
Or at least have him come to the next meeting, so I get a chance to.
Is that what we would prefer to have happen here?
I think that's a good idea, Patty. Yeah, just say hello and you can appoint then.
Okay, so we invite him to the next board meeting.
Sure.
So do we have to make a motion that we table it to the next meeting to give him a chance to come and?
We can, okay, I introduced it, if you would like to make a motion to table it and have him come to a meeting, that'd be appropriate.
Okay, I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second, any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. That's the Board of Assessment Review.
We don't have a report from Cliff?
Hmm?
No report from Cliff?
No.
No, we don't have a report. He called me. There was a fire over in one of the other townships that he does. And he had to stay at the fire scene and speak to the investigators and stuff. But I guess there was a problem with some code violations, so he apologized for not coming or not having a report. He usually does it when he comes in.
No, that's understandable.
He plugs along pretty good, so no problem there.
He just closed, I wanna say, 6 or 7 of them he gave me on Monday that he closed, so I think he's only got about 20 to 30 building permits that are open now. He's got 2 Amish homes, well, he's got 1 he's gonna give a building permit to, and I do know that, Eli Kurtz and Cliff met. They took Eli's plans to the what do I wanna say, architect for steel.
They were going to.
And Cliff is going to pick up those, plans on Monday. So they'll be able to go ahead with the Amish houses then.
That was a good compromise by
Yeah.
everybody.
Yep.
Okay, put on your town clerk hat.
Well, I got nothing to report. Well, I'm busy with hunting licenses, I am. That's about the only thing that I'm doing right now is hunting licenses.
How's the hunting license computer now? Is it good?
No, it's slow. I haven't, we haven't changed it over yet because, once I got my computer changed over, I didn't wanna do it till after hunting season. So that'll be changed over this winter.
Okay. I know it gives you fits every year, so.
It's slow, but they're pretty good about waiting for it.
Okay. Motion to accept the town clerk's report.
So moved.
Second.
Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carried. Okay, planning board. Do we have a report from the planning board? We have minutes.
We have
Meeting minutes. The members of the board have the meeting minutes.
There was a recommendation that came out of the planning board on the special use permit for the solar, that they felt that the engineering, I'm looking for it here in the minutes, but I know I spoke to two members of the planning board that said that since the company designing picked up the engineering portion of it, that they felt that the special use permit should be the same as a regular site plan review. And
I saw that and I thought, I'd rather go through that with Chris before we do anything with that.
well, we've held up
We
poor
know.
Mr. Herding 6 months already.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we should take their recommendation, and that is, because the site plan, the special use permit is unique to the planning board. The building permit needs to be discussed with Cliff, but they can't even complete the application until we give them that special use permit fee. And I think we should do it, it's getting late in the season for everybody, and I think we should pass it. I think we should I'll make a motion that we make the special use permit for the solar the same as the site permit. Now, I'll make that motion.
Well, okay, there's a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
What was
What's the
that
fee?
again, special use
The
permit?
special use permit, so in other words, they have to get a special use permit. The members of the planning board thought that the special use permit should be no different than the actual site plan fee, which I believe is what, 50 or 75 bucks, because that the companies themselves pick up the extra engineer and bring it to the planning board, so we don't have to hire an engineer to review the plans. Matter of fact, this solar company, I believe, and Joe, I know you're not official anymore, but they're actually producing, they actually are paying for an engineer to give us a
For a
report.
second engineer, correct.
For a second
They're the ones
engineer.
that we called, appointed a second engineering firm, Delaware Engineering, and they would pick up the fee from that, to pay for that.
Right,
Yeah.
so, and
we
this-
don't have to, the town doesn't have to take care of that at all.
Town doesn't have to do anything right now for the special use, to get
It
to the next
essentially
step.
comes out of the, no, it's not the escrow account, but,
Their budget.
yeah, their budget.
Their budget.
All right, so you just said the special use permit, the same as the site plan. You're talking the fee.
Fee,
Okay.
correct.
All right.
And then this way, they can finish their application and, we still have building permit to discuss and pilot, but, it's.
But at least now they can move forward.
They can move forward and, the landowner's been waiting and the company's been waiting almost 6 months now.
question, does the planning board need to make a recommendation to us to have us act, or?
Well, that's what they did. They actually made the recommendation for us. We're the only body that can levy that fee, not the planning board.
I'll
So-
second your motion.
Thank you.
Okay, any further discussion? Okay, we have a motion and a second, and I have a question. Are you relying on a firm that the people who want to put this array up are hiring to do it for them?
They brought in a second firm that is my understanding they have no
affiliation.
no affiliation with. So
We called them.
we call it right. So I think if there's another solar, we can do the same thing, and if we want it, and that's exactly how the process should go. But we actually contacted the second firm, and they said, yeah, they'll pick up the fee. So I don't think it could be too much better than that at this point.
I don't like to hire people that are connected to the other party on the opposite side of the street to do the advising, even though they're picking the fee up. My next question would be, before we issue a building permit, do we have the wherewithal to determine whether it's a good design or not? Because at some point in time here, the town has to determine whether it's a good design mechanically, as well as a good design that fits in with the proper use of the land. We're talking two different issues, but nonetheless, my point is the same with both.
Well, this one gets them through the regulatory hurdle of the planning board. And then Cliff gets to vet the entire package before he issues a building permit.
Yeah, but Cliff can't have anything to say if it meets the zoning requirements,
Well, he
or
can,
what the planning board has given as a
Well-
variance. It's not up to him.
it's up to him, well, it's up to him if they're going to build it out of, they're going to have the array on wood posts versus metal posts. You know, he has that wherewithal to say that's not going to meet our wind load. He's the code
That's
enforcement
right,
officer.
structure,
Right,
not
so,
land use.
well, the land use is totally up to the planning board and not up to Cliff.
And the planning board is relying on an outside engineering firm, which is hired by the people coming in with a project.
The planning board picked the engineering firm. The solar company paid that bill. So the solar company did not pick the second engineering firm because the planning board within their purview said, hey, we're not relying on just your engineering report. We want to get our own opinion, which is what was recommended by the town of one of the other towns, way to proceed. So the planning board went out of their way and picked a second engineering firm, not the solar company, but the solar company picked up the tab. And I can't think it's more transparent than that at this point.
Well, it's too bad there's not a member of the planning board here to make a recommendation and answer questions at this moment.
Well, I'm just thinking that we've put it, I mean, it's in their
I know what
report.
you're saying in terms of
Right.